Halloween. It's the only time of year when it's socially acceptable to stand outside your ex-wife's house with a machete. But for chess players, it's even better, because it's your chance to play one of the most exciting, enigmatic, and grotesquely unsound gambits ever created. Get excited, because in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to teach you how to use the Halloween Gambit to create complex tactical positions that will win you games and terrify your opponents. 3, 2, 1, go. The Halloween Gambit begins with the 4 knights game, which goes e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, and knight f6. We have reached a boring symmetrical position, which admittedly you may enjoy if you're an Onishigiri fan or were castrated at an early age, but it will soon be turned upside down with our next move. Knight takes e5, sacrificing our knight for the central pawn and encouraging black to recapture. Black takes the knight, and now we execute our plan. d4, forcing the knight to run away. Black only has 2 reasonable options here. Knight g6 or knight c6. If knight c6, rejoice, because you gain a debilitating space advantage with d5. They pretty much have to come to e5, and if they don't, you get to push this pawn as well. Their best move here is queen e7, in which case you do the same thing, and once the knight retreats, play knight b5 and then d6. If they take, recapture with the knight, and you're absolutely crushing them. If they don't take it, take the free pawn. They're up 1 point of material, but you have more space, superior piece activity, and a much more comfortable game. In the low-ranking brain-dead amateur leagues, white wins this most of the time. However, they will probably just retreat their knight, and this is where the real fun begins. Play d6, and after they take, recapture. They can play a few different moves here, but the basic idea is pretty much the same. Usually they will play queen f6 or queen b6. Either way, hit them with knight b5, threatening to come to c7 and fork the king and the rook. Black defends this with knight a6, which seems to stop the threat, but all we have to do is keep creating new ones. Boom. Bishop c4, threatening to castle and then play rook e1. Until this point, black has just tried to play safe, logical moves, and all of a sudden, their position is in an even more frightening state of affairs than Levi's hairline. There are just no good moves here. If queen e5, just play bishop e3, and then castle. And just look at this. You're down a piece, but if you'd rather be black here, you're just a fucking idiot. Anyway, if they come to e5 with the knight, keep throwing pawns at them with f4. The knight retreats, and now e5, forcing them to go to g8. Here, you go for the same d6 plan as before. This is just a slightly shittier version of it. They'll go for queen b or f6 again, and shockingly, you will go for the same plan as before. If queen b6, go for knight b5. The only good move is king d8, and then you just keep mindlessly pushing your pawns as a substitute for any semblance of positional competence. If they go here, you just win a piece. If they go here, then attack with bishop f4. After they defend with f6, go for queen d2, and watch this dummy play a6. Boom. Bishop e3 forces the queen to c6, and now you have queen h5 check, and knight e7. If they don't play a6, just castle queenside and attack ferociously. Your position is so dominant that it easily makes up for being down a piece. Now, what if they play knight g6? Well, I suggest you lower your expectations, because this is probably not going to go well. Only then do you push the pawn, kicking their knight back to g8, and then play bishop c4. They might try to blunt your attack with d5, which sacrifices a pawn. When this happens, the only option is to take it. If c6, come back to b3, castle, and play moves that look kind of aggressive like knight e4. To be honest, at this point you're really running on fumes, but you can usually throw pawns at them on the king side like this, and hope for the best. If they play d6 here instead, play queen f3. They will probably try to trade bishops, but instead you can take the b pawn, and once they take, reclaim the bishop and ruin their position with queen c6. If they do something different, just castle, and then use your development advantage to attack their weak central king. The other main move here is to play bishop b4. When this happens, go for the same queen f3 plan as before. If they play queen e7, throw your h-pawn at them, and then when they stop the pawn with h5, play king f1, which prepares bishop g5 and allows this rook to come to the e-file. Now you're still down material, but doesn't this just look juicy? I think it looks juicy. You have a crushing space advantage, a much safer king, an active bishop pair, and a menacing queen. Everything is working in your favor, and your sniveling coward opponent is forced to console themselves with the thought that they have a tiny bit more material, which is quite pathetic when you really look at this. And this is how you play the Halloween Gambit. If they haven't carefully studied this devastating weapon, prepare to deliver a humiliating beatdown in festive, spooky fashion. If they have studied it carefully, at least you found someone who socializes even less than you. Subscribe to the channel for highly frequent, consistent uploads that will give you a decisive advantage in your chess games. Write a haiku describing the pain of constantly losing in the comments section, or let me know if you have a suggestion for the next video. Share this video with your friends, and expect more videos very soon. I'll see you next time.